Hello there. How's it going today? Let me know. Comment in the back dashboard's a little bit different again. But if you're watching this live or on the replay, let me know how you like my glasses. Let me know how things are going. I would love to hear. Today I'm just pulling up my notes here. Today we're talking about launching an online program and services. Now, this is totally applicable if you're a physical therapist, if you're a yoga teacher. I see the flash of my circle. Here we go. Not to distract you. Yoga teacher, a coach, health, wellness, any type of coaching, life coach. This is applicable for you. And I know the last year and a half, working online has been all the rage because for a period of time due to the pandemic, going and receiving if you have a brick and mortar, it was closed, right? In-person services were unavailable due to COVID. So people's minds started to, for good reason, think beyond the box of what they were currently doing and expand their services in a way that could still reach people despite the pandemic, right? Now, here's my story. I actually had started this process a good year prior to the pandemic. And it started first with, I'm going to give you some names. So if you want to look them up and learn from them, you're more than welcome to. I still learn and listen from all these, we'll call them mentors, even though a few of them I've never met in person or in life. A few of them I have, and I'm honored, and I'll tell you some of my stories. So pull up a coffee or a tea and definitely a notebook, because you're going to get some ideas, you're going to get some insight, or at least be inspired to keep going forward with your dream, whatever that may be. And you're going to get some tactical advice today. You can learn from my mistake so you don't repeat it, and you can get the results you desire much quicker than me. So you're welcome. That reminds me of Milana, I think is the video. Anyways, I'm not going to sing for you because I'll probably embarrass myself. But my daughter really loves that movie. Okay. So as you know, or you might know, a couple years ago, I had a brick and mortar physical therapy yoga clinic, and I loved it. I loved doing that work. Yet because of the Lynch syndrome diagnosis, my rectal cancer diagnosis, I realized that I couldn't have my revenue coming into the business completely dependent upon me showing up to teach a class. Like, I was teaching a lot of trainings in person, a lot of workshops in person. Remember that workshop's coming up next week. So if you're not signed up, make sure you get signed up. It's the workshop to create and fill workshops. The link is in a whole bunch of places in this group. If you can't find it, just tag me in a comment and I'll get it over to you, no problem. So I was teaching a ton of workshops in person pretty much every other weekend, or a training, or sometimes multiple weekends in a row. I was teaching in a bunch of studios, and I was doing one-to-one sessions and many semi-private classes in my brick and mortar clinic. So I was busy, I was hopping, and on paper my business looked very profitable. It looked amazing, and it was. Except I was really tired and burned out. And that's the whole reason why I shifted and pivoted, because I really love what I do. But it got my brain thinking with my cancer diagnosis. It was kind of a wake-up call, like, hey, look, like, I know you value helping people in the world, but you also have to value taking time to care for yourself and my family, right? My husband and my daughter. I wanted to see them more. So my brain started kind of churning, like, what are other ways that I can bring in revenue where it doesn't require me to be in person and live? So I started learning from mentors, and the first one I learned from was Stu McLaren. He has a course, it's called Tribe, I believe. It was a 2K investment, and it really opened my eyes to the online world. He teaches all about memberships, and I love his energy. And he partners a lot with Amy Porterfield. And so I started following the two of them with Brooke Castillo's The Life Coach School podcast. This was all about maybe three and a half years ago or so. And the three of them really changed my world completely. It was a whole different way of thinking in terms of business and how to manage your business and how to manage your mind than I was ever taught in PT school, that I was ever taught in yoga, any of my yoga teacher trainings, or any other business advice, really. It was totally different niche and industry than like healthcare world or even yoga world. And my mind was like blown. So I really latched on to these people, and I started a membership, and it went well. There is some pros and cons to having a membership, which I'm happy to do a whole separate training about that another day. Today is more big picture on starting online program membership services, because one-on-one services can also be online. I'm happy to break that down. Memberships, what I've learned launching my own membership. This was probably 2-3 years ago. And then I joined Amy Porterfield's DCA, which is a digital course academy. It's essentially an online course on how to make online programs and courses. And it opened up my mind to another possibility of working online. So then I was like, oh, I can have a membership and I can have a course. And I eventually joined. I was one of the first, I think I was the first cohort to go through Amy. No, I was the second cohort, because I joined DCA very early on. So I was one of the early, what does she calls them? OGs. Yeah, I was an early OG. And so I joined Momentum. And during that time, which was her membership group, because I only feel authentic to teach you or to create my own like way of a program or a membership unless I've done it myself, and unless I've got benefit for myself. Because the whole point, if I'm going to change something in my business that's getting, so people love the one-on-one services that I offer. They love my classes and my workshops and my trainings. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. I'm just saying because they tell me they like them. They tell me that they're getting benefits from them. And that is my whole purpose, right? That is my passion and my purpose for having a business, is to make sure that I'm helping at least one person a day make their lives easier in some way and helping them to get their own goals and results. So if I'm going to change my whole model, then that purpose must still be in play. Even if I'm going to bring in an online service, in program, membership, whatever it may be, right now I have mastermind and a program, then the whole point is to help someone make their lives easier in some way. I want it to be able to help my people more effectively and more efficiently than what I'm currently doing. So yes, it's going to benefit my time and my health in a lot of ways, because there are a ton of benefits for having an online program or an online course. If you're curious about any of this, you're like, oh my gosh, I really have been wanting to learn more, type. Even if you're watching this on the replay, let me know in the comments, because I'll keep teaching more of it, but I need to know that you want it. So let me know. Type in the comments. So, for me, having an online program or mastermind or course or membership or just doing online one-on-one services, there's so many ways to go about it, which again is a whole other thing, but it allows for flexibility of location, right? It doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can still help your people. It's less overhead because I let go of my brick and mortar and I use the profit from my brick and mortar to build this she shed. I ordered it online and I hired a contract. It was a big investment, but it was all off the profit of my business. And now I don't have the overhead. So it was like I paid for about a year's worth of rent. And now I've had this she shed for over a year. So now it's considered profit or an asset because I'm not paying that overhead anymore. So it's a way to reduce your expenses. If you find yourself having to repeat things, the same thing over and over again. So, I really specialized when I had my brick and mortar working with people with sciatica, disc issues, low back pain, neck pain, all exacerbated by stress, whether they knew it or not, in my online brick and mortar. And yes, every person that I worked with I always did an individualized approach, yet there was a lot of commonalities, common themes or a common exercise that I found myself, or yoga practice or whatnot, repeating over and over and over again. So with an online world, you record it once and then you have a library of lessons or exercises or yoga practices, whatever, and you pick and choose and you give it to the appropriate person, right? So for me, my online programs, in a way, made my in-person and one-to-one services so much more effective and efficient, because now I could give, for example, I have the Heal Your Low Back Blueprint program. It's a really beefy program. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to my website. There's a whole write-up there. And now for people that invest in a big package with me, like 12 sessions or more, 24 sessions, I can give them this beautiful bonus that is worth at least $1,000 by itself. And now they get that for free to enhance their homework, essentially what they do at home. Because as a coach, as a yoga teacher, as a healthcare provider, that yes, the work that you do in sessions or in a class or in a workshop is so important and so valuable. But what is just as valuable is that client, that student, actually implementing it at home, actually making the changes day to day to unravel patterns that they don't want to, or habits that they don't want to keep repeating. So having something that someone can go to on a daily basis, I've had so many people tell me this, you're like the bird in my ear that I wake up listening to, right? Which, I have to kind of sometimes wrap my brain about that. But, people actually watch the videos or listen to my podcast or watch these videos like when I'm doing something else, when I'm sleeping, when I'm at my own doctor's appointment, right? So I don't have to be available 24/7 for people to get benefit, because I'm accessible 24/7 when it's convenient for them, which is huge, right? So those are just some benefits of having an online program, membership, course, mastermind, whatever you want to call it. There's so many ways to work online, and I can help you with that. That's really what I work with people in the mastermind is like, okay, so you have a business, you have a desirable monthly revenue goal, but how can we help you to get there without burning yourself out while enjoying life, right? So if you really want to break it down for yourself, for your business, then make sure you sign up for a free strategy call. We'll go through it all. I'll tell you really what's needed. And then we decide if a program or mastermind that I have is a good fit or not, but you'll go away with some insight as to your next steps. So if this is like making a lot of sense to you and you're like, oh, then just sign up for a call. But today specifically, I want to tell you about the big mistake I made, right? The big mistake I made during this whole process, and this was when I had the brick and mortar clinic, and I was creating the Heal Your Low Back Blueprint, because that was my very first online program, and it was a big one because I followed Amy Porterfield's DCA process to the letter. I went through each and every lesson, all her handouts, and I did it to the T. So it was a big program, right? And I made the mistake that thinking that this program was separate than my brick and mortar. So I'll repeat that again, because I know a lot of you are doing this too. You are thinking that your online program or online membership or online services is completely separate than your yoga teachings in the studio, completely separate than your physical therapy clinic, completely separate than your coaching business. If you think this, comment below. Let me know. If you're watching this on the replay, comment below. Let me know. Do you think it's completely separate? I for sure did. And I found myself all the time when I had like extra spare time in between yoga classes, in between one-on-ones, in between workshops, trying to cram in time to work on my online program. Do you find yourself doing that? And then you find yourself, right? I came to the realization like, oh my gosh, when I'm saying yes to my online program, so I'm hustling and frantically trying to squeeze in time to work on this online program, I'm actually saying no to my brick and mortar. Or if I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to market my brick and mortar, then I'm saying no to my online program. Do you find yourself doing the same thing? Like saying yes means you're saying no to the other? I totally found myself in this position, and because of that, then I was hustling more, right? And the whole point of the online program was to reduce my hustle, to give me more spare time. And that's the other thing about the online program, is what you don't realize is a lot of time in before you see any return on revenue. And people give up. They're like, I'm investing a lot of time, I'm investing in all these software to host my online services and program, but I haven't seen a dime yet. And then they give up, or they like want some cheap way. And that is a whole other thing, right? But so I found myself like, we're just taking time right now, hustling, trying to do them both. And it was burning the candle at both ends. Can you relate? Let me know. So I never felt like I was getting ahead in either. I never felt like I was making progress in either. And it was causing me to feel overwhelmed. It was causing me to feel scarcity mindset. I was freezing. And here's the thing. I'm going to teach you what to do instead. But here's the disclaimer or modifier. If, depending on the size of your business, depending on your big picture goals of your business overall, you might decide to keep them separate, okay? So step number one is to first write down what is the big picture goal of your business in the next 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years. So I'm going to give you a few steps. They're going to take time. You're not going to see revenue immediately from this time, but I promise you, if you invest the time now, it'll give so much back down the road. So this is big picture thinking here, big picture concepts. And so please, please, please invest the time to think this through now. And I heard this over and over and over again from my mentors. I eventually, after I took Stu's course, Amy's course and membership, I was also in Paul Goff's mastermind during that time. And then I signed up for his online program as well. He did two, one for telehealth and then one specifically for launching online courses. So I've learned from a lot of mentors, okay? And I hear it over and over and over again. Take the time to think it through. Yeah, because I was feeling so pressured for time, I didn't take the time to think it through. And so I was thinking that my online program was completely separate than my brick and mortar. And it's not, okay? So take the time. What's your big picture goal for 3 years, for 5 years, for 10 years? How does having online services, and when I say online services, it's big umbrella to include one-on-one online, an online program, an online membership, an online mastermind. There's so many ways you can work online. So any of these. So I'm just saying online services. If you currently have a yoga studio or a brick and mortar like healthcare clinic, or you're a yoga teacher and you primarily teach in yoga studios, then how does having online services fit with your big picture goal? Write it down, okay? You might want to watch this video a few times, okay? Then after you figure that out, ask yourself, how could an online program actually help my people better? How could it help my people better? So for me personally, I did not create that Heal Your Low Back blueprint till I knew 150% that it was a bonus and a value add-on, not by adding more things for my people to do, but it was an add-on and value in a way to help my people get results faster, to have their results stay longer, to be more efficient, all the things. It was just make what I do better. And then I said, yes, I'm going to do it. So for you, what is that? How does it help? Another question to ask yourself to help figure out what type of membership program to teach or to like make it work is asking yourself, how could an online program fill in the gaps that my one-to-one or in-person services, so your yoga studio, your in-person yoga classes, your brick and mortar physical therapy clinic, or one-to-one sessions in person that they can't do? How could an online program fill in the gaps that your in-person stuff can't do? Okay? And then the last question is what are my people really wanting and asking for? Okay, so all that's going to help you do two things. Number one, create something that your people actually want to invest in so they pay you. Number two, to help them actually get the results. And number three, so it really works in the big picture goal for your online services and your in-person services, right? So then when you're working on one or the other, you don't have to feel like you're saying no to one or the other, because whatever you're working on is still going to benefit the big picture. And the purpose of that is huge, whether you realize it or not, because when you're working to the ultimate goal, instead of feeling torn between one or the other, your nervous system is going to be calm and relaxed. So you're going to be creating content, you're going to be marketing, you're going to be doing all the things from a place of certainty, from a place of grounded, instead of feeling hustle, scarcity, overwhelm, and your nervous system is all ramped up, right? So the quality of work you're going to do is much more efficient. You're going to get more done in less time. So this is working on so many layers, okay? And so that's the whole thing, is that you want to think of it as one business under an umbrella. So for me, my Ignite Your Wellness business is the umbrella. And under that umbrella, I have many ways to work with me. And it all gears towards this funnel of getting you the results that you desire. So whatever I'm working on, it all feeds towards that goal. And the goal of, giving myself time to care for my health, go to all my doctor's appointments, have fun on the weekends, go to the beach and all the things. And really, I'm living it. And really, each morning I wake up and I'm so excited to come work in my business because unlike 2 years ago, I don't feel torn or I don't feel pressurized for time, trying to do one or the other. Okay, you see how this is very different? Now, I'm going to give you the disclaimer. I hinted towards it before of when you might want to keep the online and the brick and mortar services or the online and in-person services separate. And that might be if you have the goal of 5, 10 years, 20 years from now selling your brick and mortar business. So if you have a clinic and it's rolling and you have staff and you have a license to treat, let's say, only in California, and you might want to decide to sell that entity, then you want to keep them completely separate because otherwise you're going to end up having to sell your online business as well because it's wrapped together. There's no clear way to separate them. And this is why, again, I'm having you think out what are your big picture goals for the future. Another reason why you might want to have them separate is because, again, you might be licensed in one state. So as a physical therapist, I cannot treat someone living in Nevada, for example, as a physical therapist. But as a yoga teacher, I can work with someone anywhere in the world. So I made it very clear that my Heal Your Low Back Blueprint program is a yoga and wellness program. It's not a physical therapy program. So there's some certain things that you really have to work with, but again, it's knowing the big picture. So for me, there's some things that I keep separate and some things that I have it all wrapped together, and I can get into the tactics and the nuances. Again, for your business specifically, if you sign up for a consult call, then we can go over that stuff. I'm not going to go over all the tactics now. It's what I do in the mastermind. I really help with people with sorting all this stuff out. The point is that you want to make sure that you are, working within the scope of your practice, working within the scope of your licensure. So you might even decide to let go of your license. That is on my radar, actually, truthfully. Possibly in the future is letting go of my physical therapy license because in some ways it holds me back. But that is a huge thing, and I'm not ready for it quite yet. But I remember my first coach when I started working with her. When was that? 5-6 years ago. It was one of the first things she said to me, because she could see the vision of my future that I couldn't see yet, and that truthfully is the benefit of working with a coach. And she saw where I am right now. She saw that 5-6 years ago. And she told me there might come a time when you might want to let go of your physical therapy license. And I was like, what? No. Like, I spent like hundreds of thousands, like $200,000 I was in debt in loans. I'm like getting hot. Woohoo, that was a big debt. To earn this license, and now you're telling me I'm going to let it go? Like, what? You're out of your mind, lady. Anyways, that's another story, and I'm rambling on, and I actually have a client I got to get going to. Okay, so here's your homework today is go back, listen to those questions, write them down for yourself. If you would like help in the group, you can, I totally welcome you to write down some of your answers here in the comments and tag me, and I'll come help you sort it through, right? If you really feel stuck, you can sign up for a consult call. Then you got to decide, knowing what your big picture goal is how does your online services really fit in the umbrella of your overall business, so you don't feel torn for time, having to choose one or the other, right? So how does it fit in the big umbrella of your goals for that vision that you want for your future? So that way you can take your time. You don't feel like you have to hustle or scarcity minds or all this stuff. At the same time, There might be certain things that you want to do legality-wise or tactical nuance-wise that does separate your online and your in-person business. For example, one example is if you do want to sell your brick and mortar clinic, your brick and mortar yoga studio, something like that in the future. That's just one example. But there might be some instances where you want to keep like your lists, your online list, your in-person list, like of customers and clients. You might want to keep them separate, okay? Now, if you want more help on that specifically for you, got to sign up for a call, okay? It's the only way I can help you, by knowing your specific dreams and your specific situation. So, that's your homework. You got some marching orders for today, this Tuesday. I promise you, if you watch this video a few times, you actually do answer the questions that I'll go over them again. How could an online program actually help my people better? I'll just say services. How could online services actually help my people better? How could online services fill in the gaps that my in-person services can't do now? What are my people asking for and really wanting? What is the big picture vision? Okay, answer those questions, and then that will definitely help to let you know what your big next step is, specifically actually what type of program would be most beneficial for you, your business, and your people to create right now, so you don't waste a lot of time creating something that no one buys. Done there, I've been there. Okay, so you're learning from me, from learning from a lot of mentors, and making a lot of mistakes myself. So you're welcome. No, really, I love doing this. This really is what lights me up. If I can help one person today make your path, your journey a little bit easier, then I've filled my cup. Okay, so, and if you need to sign up for a consult call, please do that. And then the workshop, Monday, it's this Monday, September 20th, is the workshop to fill and create workshops. Even if you don't feel like you're ready to teach a workshop right now, you're nervous to teach a workshop right now, this workshop is for you. It's very meta. See, I'm following along with one of my mentors, Amy Porterfield, and I had the honor of meeting her in person. She's come to one of my yoga classes. She is an amazing human being. She used to live right down the road from me. We met for juice. So I really got to know her, and I really admire her as a human being, and I admire her business. So I really got to learn from her in some really special ways before she really blew up. And I'm really happy for her. So anyways, you can learn from me, from learning from her, specifically in person from her, and by coming to my workshop. I will teach you how to create and fill workshops, and you can sign up for that. It's free. It's just a time investment. So a lot of the things I have you do require time, but I promise you, by carving out this time to do this back end stuff, this internal work, you're going to create more time in the future. How do I know? Because I'm living it. I have so much more time now than I did years ago when I first started my business. For the first like 4 years or so, I really hustled, and I was working evenings, nights, mornings, weekends, you name it. And now I'm really enjoying my life. I have the ability to care for what's going on right now, the ability to spend time with family and all the things. So I want that for you too. So two things: you can sign up for the workshop, you can sign up for a strategy call, answer the questions, comment in the group. Many ways to get helped, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.